For those of you that have been with us for a decent amount of time, we had a hockey podcast. We started as a hockey podcast. No, we started as a baseball podcast.
I think we started the baseball podcast
branched
first.
into a hockey podcast. And on that hockey podcast, we actually had a real fun discussion on George Peros when Zach Cashin decided to boot a man in the chest. And back then, we were talking about how bad of a job he's done and just how incompetent that man is at his job. That was over a year ago. I think we're looking at like a year and a half ago at this point, right? Give or take. Maybe a year,
long
and a couple
time.
Months. It's been a long time. Yeah, Brandon's in a new house since the last time we talked about it. I'm in a different position in this room.
There's a TV in there now?
There's a TV in here and everything. So, yeah, a lot has changed since the last time we talked about George Peros on this podcast. But you know what hasn't changed? George Peros still can't do his job. He still sucks at it. Welcome back to the BnB podcast, where we're just going to shred George Peros for the next 10 minutes. If you didn't see it, Tom Wilson did Tom Wilson things. I don't think it's unexpected from Tom Wilson. I think he did exactly what you expect that idiot to do. I've heard that he's a good human being. Okay, because I don't believe it based on anything that he's ever done on the ice, but apparently he's a great guy. I'm starting to believe it less and less because good guys don't fucking run guys and slam guys into the ground and punch people in the back of the neck. Basically, Tom Wilson sucker punched Buchnevich while he was down on the ice, facing down, sucker punched him. Whether you want to say he hit him in the head or the shoulder or the neck, who cares? Bottom line is he sucker punched him while he was facing down. Garbage move. And then Panarin tried to step in, which I think was dumb from Panarin's part. But he did, and Tom Wilson just ragdolled him, grabbed him by the hair, and body slammed him to the ground, and just like completely unnecessary towards Panarin. Just ragdolled the kid and ended up hurting Panarin, and Panarin's done for, you can call it done for the season, but it's 3 games. Who cares? It's not, I don't think the injury was as serious as it seems. But bottom line is he got hurt, and he is out the rest of the year, and Buchnevich was fine, but like that's still a dirty, cheap shot. That's not a hockey play. So if you watch that go down, you saw everything that happened. You would expect, hey, that's Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson's been suspended 354 times, I think, give or take. I could be off on those numbers, but it feels like 354 times. And you would expect, hey, repeat offender from this season, he's probably going to get suspended. Yeah, you'd think. George Peros wouldn't think. George Peros gave him a $5,000 fine.
Did George Peros see the same clip that we saw, or did maybe he see a prior clip,
a different Tom Wilson play? Maybe he was watching something from earlier in the game. That's possible.
It was incredible to not get anything, but to be honest, I wasn't as shocked as everybody else because I saw the way that it played out, and I said to myself, "There's no serious injury on the ice. No punches were actually like thrown besides him to the back of the head, but outside of a glove, no punches were really.
There wasn't really like a fight. It was just a wrestling match between a little man,
right? And they're gonna say that it was both sides. So like, absolutely, I was like, Tom Wilson should be getting some sort of suspension, but to get the maximum fine, especially at $5,000, like. Oh no, man! There goes that endorsement bill for the day.
Yeah, the thing for me, I didn't take too much issue to the Panarin play. I think Panarin takes a little bit of blame on that because like you're taking on a man that's twice your size. Like you're not winning that battle. Yes, it was aggressive what Tom Wilson did, but like he did go at him first. So I mean,
when Panarin jumped on his back, you saw him leave his feet because he had to get that much higher, like to get a hold of him in the first place. So like you already know if you're Panarin, like. Okay, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
I'm in some serious trouble.
So I didn't take as much issue with that. I took issue to the punch to the back of the head, neck, shoulder area of Buchnevich because that's just plain dirty. Like there's no defense to that. That's not a hockey play. You're not defending your goalie because he's literally laying there face down doing nothing, and you sucker punch him. Your intent was to hit him in the back of the head. Your intent wasn't to punch him in the shoulder. Don't give me that defense. That's garbage. His intent was to punch him in the head. That's a garbage play. That's suspendable on every ruling in the book. and they didn't give him anything for that. Everyone got worked up about the Panarin thing. I'm like, that's not the biggest issue here. I'm like,
I mean, I don't know, man. If you watch that replay slow,
It's
like,
ugly.
I can't say for certain, but it looks like he goes head first. The way that he
it's
hits
ugly.
is that he goes head
Yeah.
first, and I think we're just lucky that neither Buchnevich or
They weren't
Panarin
serious
walked
about
away. Yeah, they're able to walk away, right? We remember when Todd Bertuzzi threw a punch
Yeah.
that ended a career, right?
Yeah.
And just that's
Changed
how
a man's life. Like it's
how quick and easy it happens, right? It's so bang bang, and you just hit the wrong spot, and then Buchnevich never gets up again, or Panarin lands on his head, and then we're just watching this happen. Like that's where I think the issue is, and that the fact that you throw $5,000 on it is almost like you walking into to discipline your kids and just saying like, no, let the brothers figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, let these boys just figure it out together, and
Like,
they're gonna police it themselves.
That's 100% what they did too. Is they said, well, the players can police this and blah blah blah. If that's the case, don't call yourself the Department of Player Safety, because you're not about player safety. You're not here to protect the players.
You're the Department of Money Safety, and we are going to draw.
You're the Department of Suspensions.
Yeah. How many people?
Fines.
Myself, I text you. I said I'm going to watch the beginning of this game because I know there is going to be so much going on, and within the first minutes of that game,
there was like 8 fights in the first 6 minutes. Like,
it was
no shit,
unbelievable, and that's exactly what you wanted. It stirred up all the
for
drama,
sure.
And there's nobody that got injured the way that everyone expected. Now, Buchnevich, obviously, in that game, throws a fantastic
cross-check, high stick, whatever you want to call it. Fantastic play. Shout out Pavel Buchnevich for doing exactly what he should have done.
Right.
He got suspended for it, but he did exactly what he should have done.
One game, well worth it, I think is what we say.
Absolutely.
Walk away, right?
Absolutely. Because, first of all, Mantha's being a piece of shit on that play. Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's slashing him and hacking him and doing all this stupid shit, and then he turns to go back at him. You know what? Eat my stick. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Pavel
You're going to give me a
Buchnevich
suspension in a meaningless game? Who cares?
You're not known for that too, right? If you're Buchnevich, you're not a fighter.
You're not going to get it. You're not a repeat offender if you're Pavel Buchnevich. Fucking throw it up there. Go for it. Who cares? I think he was great. You're not going to defend me? I'll defend myself. But I'm not big enough to defend myself with my fist, so eat the shaft of my stick. Plain and simple. And that's what you've caused, George Peros. Thank you very much. Good job.
Everybody else on the ice defended him too, right? If you saw it, the second Tom Wilson hits the ice, makes a pass, and Brendan Smith jumps him.
Tom Wilson ran away scared from that game.
Right.
He literally left the game. He was scared. I love it. It's great. You know what? Good for the Rangers for doing everything they did. I have no problem with that game. Like, this was caused by George Peros. And what George Peros did that day by creating all this havoc was he took away from arguably the greatest moment in the NHL this season in TJ Oshie's hat trick. TJ Oshie comes back the day after his dad passes away, comes back, plays the game, and scores a hat trick in his first game back after the death of his father. That's incredible, and that should have been the only storyline that happened in that game. I should not have had to talk about any of the other stupid shit. But because George Peros didn't want to do his job and couldn't nip it in the bud right back then, all of this shit happened. And the TJ Oshie thing just took a backseat to this ridiculous circus that went on. It's embarrassing for the NHL. I understand why they did it because people went and watched the game. I get it. But at some point, you need to take this Neanderthal that's doing all this stupid shit and give him a punishment that actually matters. Stop giving him 4 or 5. Stop giving him fines. Give him 20 to 25 and let him fucking learn. It's a joke.
Doesn't it feel like there's a bit of a boys club inside the boys club?
Yeah.
Like in this game. Like,
that's the guy that played the same role that George Peros did. And
right.
He's not letting that guy go.
You can see those shots on every replay that those are dirty shots. Yes. They're not needed.
Absolutely.
They're even the play afterwards. I get it, defending yourself and wanting to scare some, but ragdolling Panarin, one of the best players in the game, man. You know what that says?
He was a Hart Trophy candidate last year.
Do you know what that says? That says you do not care about your. If that's a player safety, you're absolutely.
You're not
right.
the Department of Player Safety. You're the Department of Discipline.
And then to put the cherry on top too, the New York executives, the top 2 guys have to get run out of town because they decide that they're going to take a stand and say something against.
Oh my God! This is the best part. This is the best part of the whole thing.
Are we not in a place where we are able to speak up for what we feel is right? All of us are here saying that what happened was wrong. Yeah. All of us are here are saying that what happened was absolutely wrong. And if that was my team, you would defend it. Right?
Yeah,
I would defend it. You
Rangers
would defend your team.
Put out the best statement of all time. It was incredible. The way they went at the league and the way they went at George Peros was great. Everything was worded correctly. They did not tell a single lie in that statement, and they got fined 50 times as much as Tom Wilson did. Tom Wilson, who started the whole thing, got times 50 times less. Sorry, got fined 50 times less than the New York Rangers did for saying a guy isn't good at his job. All facts. Not a single lie in that statement.
Tom Wilson still has his job, too.
Tom.
Two of the faces from that comment do not have their job anymore.
Yes, it's straight up embarrassing for the NHL. It's embarrassing for Gary Bettman to act like the toddler and come out there and, he made fun of my employee. Like, fuck you for that. Like, you're acting like a child. Like, he's a grown-ass adult who did a terrible job and has done a terrible job since the day he was hired. Like, learn from it, fire the guy, and find someone that knows what they're doing. This is a joke at this point. Like, it's gone on way too long. It's gone on way too long for too long at this point. Like, we had this conversation when we watched Zach Cashin kick a guy in the chest and get next to nothing. Like, this is brutal.
I'm not sure what this brings. I thought this league was really trying to go away from the fighting and from the this aggression in the
Some
game.
Days
they
always
always say that, yeah. And then it just seems when it really comes down to it, then they just decide, no, you know what? Actually, we want this in the game because it's going to bring the most fans.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
yeah,
it's going to bring the most headlines, right? Like that. I'm sure that's all.
Trying to sell metaphorical
right?
tickets at this point, because they're not actually selling tickets. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. The league's a joke. It's a great sport, but it's a joke of a league. Yeah, Carlos Correa just hit a home run.
Yeah, I saw that. He nuked it.
Yuck.
Rush tripling is not.
A little bit later, I want to talk about him. But,
you want to talk about him?
A little later. I do want to mention something he said.
I think the craziest thing that I saw though here was Yuli's hitting like above 300. So.
Flat with a barrel.
That's sick.
Sick. Auston Matthews did something pretty cool last night. And people aren't really happy about it. There's a lot of anger. I don't know why. People are just mad that Auston Matthews does good things. But he hit 40 goals in 49 games last night, and that's ridiculous. That's just the pace he's on. Incredible. But I don't know why people get so worked up about Auston Matthews doing good things. Like, why can't you just not be jealous for 10 minutes? Like, just appreciate that this guy is the best goal scorer in the NHL. And don't try and compare him to guys on your team. And don't talk about the playoffs. And don't talk about any other divisions or any stupid shit. Because I don't care. He doesn't care. He's going to win the Rocket. And that's all that matters. He's an incredible goal scorer.
He's not even like the best goal scorer like by a little. It's not even. He's the best goal scorer by a lot.
It's not close. It's not close.
By a lot.
It's not even close. Like David's incredible. The closest thing, and I don't consider him a goal scorer. So it's like, what are we doing here? Like, why?
David's just a point getter.
Yeah. Why do we want to?
Oh my God, he's at 96.
Auston Matthews?
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Why do we want to belittle Auston Matthews because he plays for Toronto? Like, why do we have to hate Toronto? I don't understand.
Because it's Toronto. What do you mean?
I know, why?
You answered that question yourself.
But why? Our fans are just as garbage as every other fan base in the league. Like, there's so much toxicity in the NHL fan bases. It's just like, why is Toronto the team?
We're the biggest market.
To hate Toronto?
Because it's that team.
We are the bigger market.
Yes.
I get why Canadian teams don't like it, because like they get a lot of coverage because both stations are based in Toronto. They're gonna get the coverage. But like when you have fans of like other teams, I saw Washington fans, Tampa fans, just a whole bunch of other teams that have nothing to do with us this year especially. When you're talking about Auston Matthews, it's like, why? For what reason do you have to talk about Auston Matthews right now?
Because haters gonna hate.
Oh man.
What else are they gonna do?
Like, Jets fans are talking about him. Like, you have enough problems to worry about. Don't worry about Auston.
You know why? Because Jets fans realize that the season's going to play out exactly how everybody said it would, right? This is what's going to happen. When you go on to the next round, though, it's not a shock what's going to happen. It's even the round after that. Realistically, all of these teams have played out how they're going to play, right? You could argue in other divisions which team will come out of there, but this division is pretty much if the season is gone the way the season is going, then it's the Leafs.
Yeah.
Right. There's no other team that's there to
Yeah,
compete up with them, right? I'm looking at McDavid's numbers. Sure, he has 96 points for sure, but in his
Right.
last game, man, his plus minus is ridiculous. And I'm gonna take that then.
Still not good.
If you're letting in that
He
many
still
goals
gets
and you have
scored
that
on a
many
lot.
points, yeah,
Like I
it's
don't like plus
phenomenal. This is a
minus.
team that can score though, and this is a team that scores early. They've done that now,
Mhm.
and they've shown that. Right, last night they hopped all over Montreal.
Yeah, they kind of let
They
off the gas in the middle, and like you expected
okay,
at this point, it's
but
a
they hopped it.
meaningless
They
game.
were up like 4-0
It's a
before you could
meaningless
even
game.
do
I
anything.
saw people posting clips from that game, like, "Oh, look at this." Nylander was one of them. It's like, "Oh, he's floating again." Yeah, he's floating because this game means absolutely nothing.
You are looking forward to staying healthy for
Just
the start of
don't
the
get
playoffs
hurt.
because
I don't give a shit if you don't score again. Just don't get hurt.
right
Plain and simple. Like, just make it through the season alive, and we'll be good.
now, do you think though because the North Division? Oh, that's another nuke.
Oh, that
Oh,
was
that
a
hurts.
bomb.
Oh, off the top of the wall.
Oh, thank you.
Not a home
Google.
run.
Oh no. Well, they,
Sorry. Anyways, back to the point though.
yeah.
Do you think that because the Leafs are going to have some time off, Vancouver has to catch up with their games? Do you think that this rest is going to help maintain this momentum?
Right.
Or do you
Or
think that
hurt
this
them?
rest is just going to hurt them realistically?
Depends on who they get in the first round. Because I know Montreal has a lot of games to play here. Like they have a ridiculous schedule. So if it's Montreal, I just think they're out of legs at this point. Like they're so busy this month that I don't think they have any gas left in the tank. So I think either way I think you come out of that in a good situation. Now, if it's Winnipeg, I think it's a little different because I think both teams get a decent sized break at the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. And if that's the case, I mean, you're both coming in on this gap, and it depends on who comes off of that better.
But no matter what, though, you think the break will help the Leafs.
It could, and it could also have the reverse effect. Like, there's a chance that it just cools off this ridiculous heater that Matthews has been on, right? Like, he scored.
Dude, there's no
6 straight
slowing
games
that
right
down,
now.
though. This is but you're going to go back to playing the same teams that you
Yeah.
played and the same teams that you scored
You
against.
have them mentally.
And the great thing is, though, is now all the players that have been hurt, all the players that are older are going to get their opportunity to rest up and just completely rest, not have to worry about missing games, not have to worry about trying to rush back in time. They're just kind of told, hey, this is going to be your first game. If you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think that it's really going to help them.
it'll be neat.
And
I'm baffled by this, just how this end of the season is breaking down and like the way fans are approaching it. And like Montreal fans, especially, I don't really have a lot of beef with Montreal fans. I get where the rivalry is, and like you can say stupid shit about the Leafs, and we say stupid shit about the Habs.
but what rivalry is there, though? The rivalry would indicate that these teams are close in matchups.
This is my point here is like they're going into the playoffs, and there's a lot of fans going like, we're not scared of the Leafs. They should be scared of us. They suck in the playoffs. The playoffs are a different game. I didn't realize that once the season ends, we start playing water polo or something.
This is a different team.
Yeah.
This is not the same team that's been put on the ice beforehand.
Also, but like even still, what do you mean the playoffs are a different game? It's still hockey. We're used to getting abused.
Dude, there's going to be no fans the same way there is now.
No.
Until maybe the finals. Exactly.
What's different about playoff hockey this year? Maybe there's less calls. The Leafs get no calls, and they take very few penalties, and they get very few penalties called against all year long. So what the hell is going to be any different in the playoffs? We get one power play instead of two, or none instead of one. Like what's the difference?
They're still going to beat you 5-on-5.
Yes,
and they're still going to beat you on the power play that they do get because you know what? They're going to run Auston Matthews for as long as they can.
I don't care how many guys you hit. Your goalie still can't save Auston Matthews when he gets a clear shot. Like, what are we talking about here? It's a different game. I understand the playoffs are usually a little more intense, and the refs are a little different. The whistles go away a little bit. I haven't seen whistles all year. The refs are terrible this season. This is one of the uglier years for refereeing I've ever seen. So what do you mean it's going to be a different game? And, like, to top it off, what do you mean we're not going to be good in the playoffs? Because we didn't show up very well against three of the better teams that we've played, like Boston twice and Washington. Like, what are we talking about at this point? Like, I understand if you want to run with, like, yeah, we haven't won in the first round in a while, sure, but like, take a look at who we played and take a look at who you are. Like, nobody fears Montreal or Winnipeg right now because Winnipeg is snowballing
no
And
team
Montreal's 20 points behind.
no team in this division stacks up to the Washington that was played, to the Boston that was played.
No.
Right? Like the
No.
Columbus team still had some names on it, and they
They're better
outplayed you to
defensively than any
you know
of the
what?
teams we're going to play.
You learn from this, and what you did was you also took the captain of the other team that beat you and brought him to your team to then bring in that same hard work,
Yeah.
to bring in that same determination to get through this series, right?
And
They do not let off the gas in games, man. That's why they're up 4-0.
no,
Like you can say, okay, they hang back. No, they're just not pushing offensively because why do they need to? It's 4-0.
They don't need to murder
No.
themselves. And like, I see a lot of Montreal fans going, "Oh, we're injured and we're missing some guys." Who are you missing?
Jonathan Drouin
Gallagher
is
Gallagher's
gone.
not coming back. Drouin's not coming back.
Right.
So who are we talking about? Carey Price?
But
why are you giving me a negative?
Carey Price
isn't helping the team if he comes back.
This is not the Carey Price from the Olympics. This is not the Carey Price.
This isn't Carey Price of 2 years ago.
Years, no.
Like,
so he knows
who's
that.
hurt that's coming back.
The goalies now are kind of, they cancel each other out because you know what? Jack Campbell is going to do enough to get you through, and if Freddie comes in, then Freddie will do enough.
Yeah,
and that's all they need though. This team is not going to be the team that relies on goaltending and scoring now. They're relying on everything else, keeping the scoring, but just dropping the goaltending and saying, look,
they've got team defense that just shuts you out.
You don't need to be elite, but you play the best you can, and that's it. And it's goalie by committee, and that's great.
I get cheering for your team, but like, there's no team in the North this year that has beaten us enough to win a 7-game series, and like, we play every team 8 to 9 times a year. Like, if you can't beat us in an 8 or 9 game series, what makes you so confident that you're going to win in a 7-game series? Like, I understand if you want to just be all, hey, we got a chance here, we're a decent team, sure. But don't say, like, the Leafs should be scared or you're not scared of the Leafs. Be scared of the Leafs. Because if you come into the attitude, if the Habs came into that series with the attitude of we're not scared of the Leafs, you're going to lose. Because you're looking past them like, they're nothing. Like, you're going to lose. Plain and simple.
You do not need to be scared, but you will be absolutely shocked when they hand you the first 2 games by a large margin. Yeah. Okay, because
you came in thinking, this is the playoff Leafs. Like, get out of here.
It's the playoff Leafs. That's not something that should be said laughable. That's something that's going to be taken seriously this round.
Yep.
Right. The first round they're going to show it. The second round, for sure, you're going to run into a bigger test.
Maybe.
But even still, you've proven again and again that there is no big test that you've faced before until that Final Four. And those guys are going to go through hell themselves just to get there.
When you get to those series, I understand those teams being confident.
Right.
Because, like, the Leafs haven't played really good teams very well in the playoffs. Like I said, when we played Boston and when we played Washington, team didn't look – they blew leads. I wouldn't say they didn't look good. They took them to Game 7 – Boston to Game 7 both times, and Washington, who was the best team in the league, to 6. So, like, they were good enough. They just didn't win. But, yeah, when we get there, it's a little more worrisome. But let's just relax on the first round. Like, just appreciate the fact that your team's in, regardless of who you are. And maybe put a little respect on their names. Because, you mentioned Freddie. Freddie's supposed to start a full game tomorrow in the AHL. He played a half game yesterday. He let in 2 goals on 14 shots. A lot of people just looked at that and they're like, oh, he was terrible. But, like, if you actually watch the game and what he did and, like, his movements and stuff, like, he let in 2 goals on 5 shots because it was his first 5 shots in, like, 3 months, 2 months, whatever it's been. You're going to be a little rusty. And then he locked it down and made 10 straight saves. Like, it was fine. Let's not worry about that part. Let's see how Freddie does tomorrow in a whole game. See how he looks health-wise. Don't go look at the stat sheet and be like, oh, he let in 3 goals. Like, no, watch the game, see how he plays, then make your judgment. Jack's still the guy. He's going to start game 1. I don't think they're thinking of Freddie, but
no, I don't think that. That's why there's really been no panic button for him to come back. You know, you're approaching the playoffs. You're X amount of games away from the season being done, and you still don't have your quote unquote starting goalie. And this has probably been the most relaxed I think Leafs Nation has been in a while.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
you're
Jack
first.
has the most wins through 20 games in Leafs history. So
right.
I'm not worried.
No, nobody's worried. And okay, I hear this. But here's the thing is I've heard this argument too of, oh, well, Jack Campbell has no playoff experience. Okay, fair. Matt Murray technically won 2 cups by the time he was a rookie. Jordan Bennington was how old when he
Playoff
took the St.
experience
Louis
for a
Blues?
goalie is
to-
just the most overrated thing you'll ever
Right.
do.
You do not need to be fully experienced. You just need to be great for you need 16 great games
Tuukka
before you
Rask has
have
a shit ton of playoff experience, and he's consistently one of the worst goalies in the playoffs.
right. When it matters, he just decides to shut the hell down. I know. I watched the series where he let in brutal goals for my
Yeah.
boys to just take that game 6
Yep.
in about a minute 30 when I was literally this close from bed, game 7. I was like, okay, we're going to 7. That's fine. And then I just, you know
Then
what?
he just
Hang in
decided to
there.
hand Chicago the game.
And can you imagine if I decided I'm going to bed?
Would have missed the whole thing.
I would have cried.
Don't talk to me about goalie experience in the
No.
playoffs. Like maybe players and stuff.
Dude, Marc-Andre Fleury has how much experience? He's gone to how many cups? He has how many cups? Like, if you want to say experience, then it's Vegas, and there's no
if
ifs, ands, or buts.
Based off of goalie experience,
1-2.
Marc-Andre Fleury is just going to win you the cup, apparently. Yeah.
So
that's hockey. On to baseball. I kind of wanted to tie this in with the Tom Wilson thing, but I think it's hilarious because Amir Garrett, on the same day that the Tom Wilson suspension was, the Tom Wilson fine was announced, Amir Garrett got suspended 7 games for basically just yelling at Rizzo. It was Rizzo after he struck him out. Like, he was just chirping him and like fired up, and that's cool. It's fun. It's the part of baseball you kind of want to see. And then Javier Baez took exception to it and like hopped the fence and was coming out at him, and like it basically started this little mini riot. So because it was inciting a brawl, quote unquote, according to this idiot that's in charge of the league, Amir Garrett got 7 games. So he got more. They can't even say 7 times more because 7 times 0 is 0. You got 7 more games for yelling at Rizzo than Tom Wilson did for punching a dude in the back of the head, neck, shoulder area. That's so crazy to me. Like, why is Rob Manfred simultaneously trying to get young people to watch baseball while also making baseball the least fun sport of all time?
So if the NHL is that parent that lets the brothers figure it out on their own,
right?
The MLB is that stern parent that comes in and says, okay, if you're going to bark back at me, I'm going to up the ante. Okay. If you want to think that you have control of this,
to me.
Right. Amir Garrett has been suspended before.
Sure.
Amir Garrett has been in trouble before for doing pretty much the same thing.
That's a good reason.
Absolutely.
Way worse than this one.
To get 7 games, though,
I don't.
Is phenomenal. It's almost in the Joe Kelly range of just throwing near someone and getting
he didn't
games
even hit,
for that.
That's the thing. He didn't hit anyone. He didn't really do much other than just like get fired up about a strikeout because there's a little bit of history with him in the Cubs.
But the MLB is just saying that they're not even going to tolerate any motion of it, and that is exactly what.
This is why people don't watch baseball.
But that's what the NHL realistically should have done. Why shouldn't Tom Wilson have been suspended into some of the games of the playoffs? Hey, guess what? You're going to miss the first 3 games of the playoffs, and that's it, right? Amir Garrett is now not going to pitch for 7 games. 7 games is not that long for a pitcher. As a reliever,
that could be 3 or 4 appearances.
Okay, for sure.
We'll just call it 3 or 4 hockey games.
Oh my God, that was a bad strikeout. I'm so sorry. Oh wow. Bases loaded. Thanks for the Jays. I'm a Jays fan, but that was great. But that was awful.
You love to see it.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just I'm so.
This is why I don't watch sports when we podcast. That's why this is.
I don't understand why Rob Manfred pretends that he wants to get more fans to the game, while also doing this. Like we want fun, but we don't want that much fun. We don't want to see any emotion. We want stone-faced robots that are just going out there and hitting home runs, but we don't want them to show any emotion.
We want the Bauer versus Tatis. We want the bat flips.
No, we don't if you're Rob Manfred.
We want all that. That's exactly what everybody wants.
Why would we want that? Why would
baseball
we want fun?
Is not baseball is probably one of the most interesting sports because as much as it's like a team sport, it's really an individual sport. Yeah. And that's what you like to see is that it's like one individual gets up there, does something amazing, gets their moment, and then gets to celebrate it, right? Yeah. Hockey celebrations, dude, when you go in to play any NHL game now, how many celebrations do you get to choose from? In the NFL, like in Madden, when you score a touchdown, how many different things? You got dances, you got solidarity moves.
The defense do all those like things where they go to the camera.
Yes.
And
Hey, what's up? Yeah, they're dancing, right? Like that's what you want to see. They're creative.
Yeah. Yeah,
And yet
I don't know
and
why
yet the MLB
why
just
don't we like
says
fun? Why does Rob Manfred
too
not
too
like
much of a bat flip. Dude, if they want to throw that bat flip to the outfield, throw it to the outfield. If it doesn't hit anybody,
sure.
throw it to the outfield.
Sure.
You
Why
earned it.
not?
You
Why
sent the
can't
ball
we
that far.
just one time in baseball history, why can't we just have a fan of the sport in charge of this thing instead of some dickhead lawyer or former business person that just like hates the sport and just wants to make money somehow? Like why can't we
A-Rod,
have both?
is Alex Rodriguez not rich enough yet to just purchase the whole
But you
league?
don't even need money. It's not like Rob Manfred bought the league. He just got voted in as the next commissioner. And like,
No, but buy him out then. Give him
sure.
whatever
Well,
he
the
wants.
problem is that it's the owners that would have to kick Rob Manfred out. Like you need like a
Look,
majority vote.
all I know is that everyone has a price tag. I'm sure we could find his.
Yeah.
No issues.
I think we just run him out of town.
Get him out.
I don't
It's
understand
bad.
why
It
he
is
still
bad.
enjoys the job. Nobody likes what he's doing. Nobody ever says a good thing about him. Why
Who
do you
keeps
still
voting
enjoy
him
doing
in?
this? I don't get it. Yeah. More baseball news. Albert Pujols, you may have heard of him. Pretty good ball player.
yeah.
He was released by the Angels in the last year of his 10-year deal that paid him $7 billion trillion. Kind of a shocking move, honestly. Like I know he hasn't been good in the last.
Sitting 198.
He's
I think
not good.
that's a shocking move.
Yeah, like he hasn't been good the last 3 years, but like it's Albert Pujols.
Okay, he's taking up a roster spot though. You're trying to make a move. They're trying to stay competitive for the first time in how long?
I guess. I mean,
Albert Pujols' 200 is not gonna, or sub 200 is not going to get you there.
He wasn't helping the team, but it just seems crazy to me. Excuse me, that this first ballot surefire Hall of Famer is getting released on the last year of his deal, just out of the blue in the middle of the season. Just okay, see you later. Thanks, we're done with you. Like you didn't want to try and make a move before the season and give him a chance to figure out another team. Like I don't know. I think it's
weird. I mean, now that I look at it, the Angels are back down in the last place in their division, so that's good. That's what no.
Like and I don't get why Albert Pujols is your scapegoat move. Like why? I don't know.
It is.
I get the move. Like he's not good, but I don't.
Yeah, I understand. It's just there's no spot for him. There's a ton of money. Like to me, it doesn't matter about the money as much because there's no cap that you're trying to keep under.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just weird. I don't get it.
Can I just say side note? Thank you, Danny Jansen, for finally putting on gloves. So now nobody has an excuse for why, like, you can't hit. He's got the glasses. He's got the gloves now. He's good to go. He hit a home run.
Danny Jansen hit a home run. Yesterday.
Okay, he gets a pass for yesterday because he put on the gloves.
Hey, he is closing in on almost hitting 100.
Oh, wow.
He has not been good. It's fine.
He looks like the type of guy to look over and say, I just fouled 2 in front of Salad Girl. Yeah. He looks like that guy.
He's struggling. He's been better lately. And he's got those new glasses, and he hit a home run last night. Hopefully,
do you know what his do you want to know what his average is right now, Brent?
083. I'm looking at it. But
yeah,
it's not good. He hasn't been good. I've openly admitted that. Really good defensive catcher, though.
Why is he still one? I have 2 questions.
Yep.
Well, why is he still here?
Because he can play defense.
Okay, great.
If you're a catcher and you are really good at being a catcher, you'll hold your spot for a long time.
Why are we still somewhat competitive with this?
Because 1 through 8 in the order can hit the ball.
Oh my God! Did he just do it again? No. He did.
Jano, a home run. As we were talking about him, man, Jano's good. You absolutely love to see it. I don't want to hear another bad word about Jano for the rest of the year.
The gloves. He's got that plus 10 power on those gloves.
He's loaded up.
He's got all the perks on. Look at that big lip of chew in there. Good for him. Just boom.
This is why. I just love when Danny Jansen does things because I just love the guy. Oh, and he's so fun to cheer for. And he's
taking advantage of that is taking advantage of that field with that stupid bump out of a he hit like the first
that
deck of it.
Shouldn't be out, but
no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, good for him. Hey, I can see you guys. This is awesome. This is what it feels like. Cool. I love it. You love to see it. Oh,
you absolutely
love to see Simeon?
Because he's been struggling so hard, but
leg it out. You're not.
Oh wow.
Altuve. Where were you?
This is just now the Blue Jays watching podcast. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome to it. Sorry,
No, Jano's been struggling so hard, and like you want to see him get out of it. He's looking like he's hitting balls harder, like not even just including like the hits he's had, just like he's making better contact, and I think he's gonna get out of this.
There's definitely stats that you're not able to see, right? Like how hard they do hit the ball, where they hit the ball, right? If you're making contact and it kind of goes out to one of the outfielders, it's a loss, but it's not really. You know, if they're moving for it and they make a bit of a play on it as well, like we're dealing with some really athletic guys now, okay? And at some point, this field might be a little small. How many times have we seen now that you know, really high fly balls are coming together, right? Rosarania and I forget who his center fielder was, almost ran into each other because of it. Yeah. Right? We're seeing things like that happen. I know some parks, and there's obviously batters who can place it in certain places. Right. It does. But there's like there's some weird parks where there's just no room. Sure. And you just they're so athletic now. These aren't the guys that used to play baseball. These guys are machines.
They're athletes. They're legitimate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, the Pablo Sandovals do not survive.
What I wanted to talk about. I just got so distracted by Danny Jansen hitting that I'm a little mangled right now.
Nothing. We are sitting third in the division. Is that?
The Blue Jays were hit with some more bad news the other day when George Springer went back on the IL. Now, it was the right move. I think they should have done it right away. I don't think he should have been like, oh, he's fatigued. Like, no, the guy was clearly hurt. There was something wrong there. Stop trying to appease your fans by keeping him in the lineup. Let him get healthy. Let him get 100%. I don't care as someone that actually wants to see this team win as opposed to just like, hey, we paid money for him. Like, let him get healthy and let him play out at full strength. Don't hurt him any more than you need to. So that kind of sucked, but the team seems to be doing just fine without him. And then some other, I wouldn't say crushing news, but tough news. David Phelps has landed himself on the IL with a lat strain. That was tough to watch because like he was just doing warm-up pitches and it just caught his arm, like he just wasn't feeling it. That's worrisome usually. I don't know what the actual update is on how long he'll be on the IL, but as of right now, he's on the 10-day, and we'll see where that goes. That sucks because he's been so good this year.
Yeah, you just hope that doesn't slow the momentum down when he gets back, right? Because the Jays have just been like surviving due to a really tight division, which is cool, but at some point, something's gonna drop out, right? Something's gonna change.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah,
but so yeah, it's tough news. Obviously, you're losing more bullpen arms.
They got Ryu back though. He looked really good in that Oakland series.
He struggled in the first inning and then settled down and looked
okay. But dude, we said the same thing about Freddie. He let in 2 shots or 2 goals on 5 shots.
Shaking off the rust a little bit, and he looked a little timid when he got back. But once he just let it go and started pitching like Ryu again, he was great. Robbie Ray, I don't know what the hell happened, but somebody fixed Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray has now gone 3 straight games without walking a guy.
Pete Walker
for MVP. Forget a player.
Cy
We're not
Young.
even giving it.
Cy Young. No, he's getting the Cy Young.
Cy Young.
He
MVP,
deserves
coach of the year. Like I know.
So
it's
you know they
gave
the best.
Make it the coach of the year.
Okay, so they gave the best of the 2 goalies. You give the Cy Young to a whole pitching staff, and then it just goes to.
That'd be cool.
To the head guy.
I think the pitching staff with the lowest ERA. I think that'd be like a fun award, kind of similar.
Yeah.
To like is it goals against or save percentage, whatever it is.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. But oh my God, Robbie Ray went from a guy that couldn't go 2 batters in a row without walking a guy to a guy that just went 3 games in a row without walking a guy, and he set like franchise records for the amount of strikeouts in 3 straight games without a walk. Like he's putting up numbers that you haven't seen since Roy Halladay in this franchise. Like
this is what you wanted out of him. This is what you brought him in for.
Shit.
This was what you had hoped for. And now, be warned, he is going to have a big fallout. I don't know if it's his next game or if it's going to be the game after that. But this is Robbie Ray.
Maybe they just fixed Robbie Ray.
This is Robbie Ray. This is Robbie Ray.
I don't believe what we're currently seeing is what we're going to continue to see from Robbie Ray. But the fact that he's done this at all is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And I think if you actually look at that trade, that was the biggest fleece job the Jays have ever pulled off.
Oh, for like nothing.
They traded him for Travis Bergen. Traded Travis Bergen for him in cash. You know where Travis Bergen is now? He's pitching in the Blue Jays bullpen. You know what they got for Robbie Ray? Dick all. And they gave us money. That's so great. I love it.
You gotta love when things worked out.
Oh my God, it's fantastic. Robbie Ray's a legitimate starter in that rotation to just mix in with Ryu, who's just always great, and Matt's, who's starting to lose it, but he started off fantastic. Maybe he'll figure it out again. Then you couple that, you have a man, and I mean a man, in AAA, in Alek Manoah, that just went out there and carved apart the Woo Sox, I think it is, or the U Sox, the Woo Sox.
Woo Sox?
Some really stupid name.
Okay.
But just carved them. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 12 strikeouts. 12. That kid's going to be disgusting. I don't think he stays in the minor leagues too long, just based on the situation that's with our rotation right now. Him and Nate Pearson are obviously, I think they're in competition to come up to the majors. Like Nate Pearson, they've already said that he doesn't have a spot right now. He has to compete and prove that he is able to pitch in the majors, and I think he can do it. But as of right now, Alek Manoah is proving that he's too good for the minors. After one start, he could be not as good as that one start, but like what he did in spring training and what he did in that game, I am way more excited to see what Alek Manoah can do right now, because it's insane.
I think what's cool is that he'll jump on the momentum of the kids are figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because he's still young enough and still with all those guys that absolutely, man. He knows Vlad, he knows Bo, he knows Lourdes. He's not new to any of these guys. Yeah, absolutely. So to bring him up, I think that's motivating to him too, right? To see, okay, this team's got not only a bit of success, but they also have a need, and they have a need for me to be there and to do what I was really brought in to do. Right. And man, he's saying the same thing everybody else is, that age is not going to determine when he's going to get a look. That if he thinks that his stuff is good now, it's almost the mindset has changed of, instead of figuring out the game's going to figure out me.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. Like they're not going to come in
and let them figure it out.
They're not going to come in and change what they're doing. They're just going to come in and say, okay, you got to figure me out. And this is what I bring to the game, right? Yeah. I think that's what Vlad's doing now. That's what we're watching, is that he is just hitting things. Mm-hmm. He's just swinging.
Sure.
And he's
just
having
getting back to him. And I think if Alek Manoah can continue to be himself and just throw the ball the way he can, I think he'll find himself on the rotation probably this season.
If your stuff is gross, your stuff is gross.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, that's going to go from any level.
If you're unhittable. Plain and
that
simple.
can go through any level, right? And we've seen these random pitchers just go on stretches where they're unstoppable, and we've seen really great pitchers go on stretches where they're completely unstoppable, which is why they're really great pitchers.
Yeah.
You are capable of doing that even in your first season.
Yes, absolutely. There's a chance that he comes up as an actual difference maker on this team.
Now, the jump from AAA to MLB is big. I don't think we can underestimate that, especially when you're going, and especially when you're really scheduled to kind of come up, and when it is going to be like a bit of a push, right? That's when teams are going to start to really hit that extra gear, and you're going to decide whether you're a playoff team or whether you're figuring it out this year. Yep. Right. And that's the thing, but I don't think that's going to, shake him at all.
Doesn't even notice, just comes up, does his job, if he continues to pitch the way he can, he'll be great. Not to go without noting, Simeon Woods Richardson also had a fantastic day. He gave up 3 runs, but only one of them earned, on 4 hits, a walk, and 8 strikeouts through 4 innings. He's another guy. I don't think he comes up this season personally, but who knows? Maybe we'll see. He could be a nice piece in the bullpen, I think, if you're going to give him a chance. I would love to see him come out of the bullpen and see what happens there. But yeah, I just wanted to note that both those rookies are disgusting, and they look great in the minors, and I cannot wait to see them come up. It's good. It's good.
Good. It's exciting to be a Jays fan. No more of like trading these prospects, right? Like, remember the day that Noah Syndergaard walked one way and R.A. Dickey came creeping in the other because –
and Travis Arnaud too.
Yeah. And, Josh Tolley came to become the greatest Jays catcher I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And just it's nice now that we get to watch and see what these guys have drafted, right? And I think everybody knew that when Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins came in, because they saw what Cleveland did.
Yeah.
They didn't stray from that method.
Nope.
right? And when did that culture start to break down? When those guys left.
Yeah.
They left, they came to the Jays, and that's when ours started to come up and theirs started to go down. And now look at Cleveland.
They're
Cleveland is
like
just
completely reversed. They're not looking very good.
right.
We're looking great.
Yeah. And we're building and we're maintaining the players that we have, and we're believing in the system that we're creating. And you're getting now the big name guys, you're getting the interest, right? You've now signed a perennial MVP hitter, right? And a Cy Young candidate, yeah.
Like your
pitcher. It's incredible.
You're right. It's a place that you like to play right now, and it's so much fun, man. Like, the vibes around the Leafs and the vibes around the Jays and even the vibes around the Raptors are just astronomically different right now. Like the Raptors, they're tanking, or they're like fake tanking, but
the Raptors for me though,
they're not entertaining.
It sucks because if you listen to these players and watch these players, they love Toronto for Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not the Toronto Raptors. This is the Tampa Bay Raptors, and you
even saw it in Pascal's interview where he's just like, "Yeah, what are you
you're being told you can't play where you love. You're not even allowed to probably see your family as much as you want to, right? Or your family's had to uproot and move with you. Mm-hmm. And it's not the same as the bubble where it's like, oh, after this we go home. This is a full season, and then there's playoffs if you make that there, and then some. Yeah. So I understand why you just don't want to do it anymore, right? Yeah, no. You're playing to play, but you don't feel at home ever.
No. Yeah, and then so you have the Raptors. Obviously, they're in a weird situation. It's tough. It's a weird vibe around that team. Then you have the Leafs, who are great, and their team, like they're first in the league or first in their division. Sorry, and the team is fun, but like it's just such a negative vibe around the whole thing because like you're just upset with the Leafs. And then you have
everybody's upset with the Leafs. Look at what we're surrounded by. We're surrounded by Boston, Montreal, like even our immediate.
It's just constant anger and vitriol towards the Leafs.
Good double play.
Oh, what a play. Then you have the Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays are fun. 1 through 9 and 1 through 5 in the rotation and the bullpen. And it's just so much fun. And they have a good time.
1 through 8. Don't give me Danny Jansen yet. Don't give me Danny Jansen.
How fun was that home run?
The last 2 games.
It's
because
fun.
we're watching.
Even when he's bad, he's fun. Like, it's just great. And like the team is just fun to be around and it's fun to watch. And like they're winning games, but they're not elite. They're not in the top tier of the league right now. But they're so much fun to watch. And like it's such a cool thing to be around a team that doesn't have to succeed to the championship level, but you still just enjoy watching Blue Jays games and enjoy everything about the team right now.
Next year, when they come back and play their season, I can guarantee there's going to be more butts and seats than there was before. Games are going to go back to being almost sold out.
Absolutely.
If this team does exactly what they're supposed to do next year and take another step forward, then oh my gosh, the fans are going to be back again. It's going to be wild.
I'm so excited.
Right?
I'm so excited for them to come to Buffalo, so it just feels like more of a home game, like as opposed to like playing Florida or playing Georgia or playing Atlanta.
There you
go. 2 hours away from Georgia, as if like it's not a home game for the Atlanta.
Yeah, it's also weird just seeing in Dunedin. It's
just weird. It just
doesn't look nice.
Like,
even Buffalo is
going
to look
feels
a little
like
weird.
Spring training.
Yeah,
yuck.
Buffalo will be a little weird too.
Buffalo,
but Buffalo
looks more like home though. Like the way
we said it last time.
Everything looked like the style behind the plate. And everything. It's just.
And we said when they went last time that. It's a familiar place for a lot of these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
exactly.
So what happens with the Buffalo team though? Like, what's the deal?
They're playing in Richmond, I believe it is, because Richmond lost their.
So they moved them. Oh, good strikeout.
One thing we should note: Buffalo fans, great people.
They are. They support.
Much fun. We love the Bills fans. The team is great. They party hard. And it's great. So for the Blue Jays to go anywhere, I'm way happier for them to be in Buffalo than they would be in Dunedin.
And Buffalo, they kind of like, Buffalo people have seen a lot of these players, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they have a loyalty, it's not going to be to the New York Yankees.
They had them all last year,
Mets.
and they loved it. Like the fans were loving having the Jays around, even though they couldn't go to games. They just loved being around a Blue Jays team that was just doing so well, and you picked up fans there.
They don't want to cheer for the Yankees. They don't want to cheer for the Mets.
Nobody wants to cheer for the Yankees. So I would love for them to go back to Buffalo and be liked somewhere again, as opposed to just being the away team 162 games a year. It's going to be really nice in June when we have a home stadium, and maybe we'll be able to go. Who
I'm gonna
knows?
go first game, man.
Who-
I'm not taking this off anymore. I'll take
Maybe,
the day off if it's a work day. If it's not, if it's a weekend, then we'll
hey,
just
maybe we'll
go.
be able to go to Buffalo. Maybe we'll get shit figured out in time that we can actually go there for a day and not have to quarantine for 8 years or get fined $3,000 to
Oh
go.
my gosh. And take 18 days off.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe I just take a 2-week trip to Buffalo. Who knows?
There you go.
I think that's it from us. Uh, yeah, that's it.
Just be sure to watch your Jays. Support them.
Yeah, they're fun. If you haven't noticed, the Jays are fun. We enjoy them. We will talk about them every single week. You can guarantee that. As always, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the BnB pod _ and on TikTok at the BnB podcast. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel down below if you're watching on YouTube. Actually, all the stuff's linked in the description anyways. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. And let us know how bad our takes are. Somebody did that last time. I responded. He never responded back. I like the conversation. It's fun. You can find some merch and more content from us at theasports.com. And yeah, go Blue Jays. We'll see you next week.
Go Blue Jays.